Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Code Duke Nukem, where we aim to recreate the original EGA action platformer, released in 1991. Now that we can shoot boxes, we should open them up. Boxes can contain many different things, but the blue boxes always contain bonus items for points. Footballs, joysticks, floppy disks, balloons, flags, and radios. In this episode, we will focus on adding most of these items, apart from the balloon, and letting Duke be able to pick them up to increase his score. Now, to be able to pick them up, we need to do some collision detection with the items. Last episode, we were using the rectangle class for the bolt that Duke can fire to do collision detection. But for today's episode, I figured that we would implement AABB collision detection. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'll explain it during the episode as well, what it is and how it works. So yeah, join me for this episode and let's go and do it. All right, so let's add some items. So I think what we should do is create a superclass item because many items share functionality. So let's start there with something. So we'll just pass in the item. We'll just create a new item, and items, they fall down. So we should copy that over from box and figure out some gravity function later. But yeah. This is something that we need to fix soon. Okay, so if we collide with Duke, picked up. And we should render the item. So renderer.drawTile, some sort of tile ID, assets, get object, something, X, Y. So let's make a method that says protected void picked up. Let's pass in the game state so we can do something with it. And for now, let's just make our default implementation. Well, nothing just yet. State dot, I don't know, increase score by X points. So this is basically what we need to do for each item. So I think what we should do is just make this guy abstract here, and then let's just make some subclasses here. So let's make a public static class. Let's start with a football. So that extends item. And we will just say here that we have a private int sprite tile index, I guess. And then what we can do here is just get it passed in as well. So int tile, I guess I'm not sure where to pass it, before or after. And this dot tile index, and then here render tile index. And then the football will have a tile index of, and then let's go here. We're not searching for the blue box, but we need the football. So that's 3050, fine, and then object 1. So that's 50 sprites plus 8 is 58. So this is sprite number 58 that we need to render for the football. And it's tile ID 3050. So let's go ahead and add it. So here, case 3050, 3050, new football XY. Okay, so this should spawn all the footballs in the level. All right, next up we have the turkey drumstick. That's a health item. We're not doing those just yet because they are special as well, but I guess we can just implement at least the graphic for them, but we won't implement the behavior. Sorry, that's 51, yeah, and then it's the drumstick. So let's just drumstick. And then let's go ahead and make it. Drumstick. And it has sprite 0, 44. Okay, so that's just 44. Cool. And the next item is the soda can. So that one is animated, but we won't. So this is soda. And that is 3052, and then sprite, oh, it's from anim 2. All right, so that is something we need to override here. So renderer.drawTile assets get anim, and then anim2, so that is 100, 132 to 135. 132, XY, 135 is the last one. All right. So I guess we'll just pass it in, but okay, so this is soda. We need to animate this stuff as well. To do animate. We're not doing the health items just yet. Okay, so next up is the floppy disk. 51, 52 is soda can. 52, item soda. 53, that's a floppy. Let's go ahead and add the floppy. Floppy. That is sprite 10 in object 1, so that is 60. Sprite 60. All right, then 54 is joystick. 54, joystick. Okay. Joystick. Let's add it here, and then it was sprite 59. Okay, sprite 59. And then next up, after the joystick comes the purple flag, 55. All right, so the flag, that's 55. That one is animated as well. So let's just put a to-do in there, and let's go here, 55. That's the flag, and then 56 is the radio, right? Yeah, 56 is the radio, and that's the last of the items for now. Radio, and those are sprites 102 to 104. 102. Animated. Okay, so that means that now we have all items here. So if we now run the level, we should see some items here. Okay, so it looks like I messed up the flag. Let's see. What's not correct about this? So the purple flag, object 1. All right, so that's 97. 97, sorry guys. 97. Okay, let me hopefully stop messing this stuff up. And there we go. All right, so we got some items now. Let's first add some animation for these items. So we have a few animated items that that we have. And we can do a few things. So we can add animation support here in the item superclass, where we basically just can say like if it's animated or not. So let's keep a frame count, and then add the frames here as a separate constructor. And so let's do one without it. And then here we can say this XY tile index 1 frame for the default. And then yeah, let's keep the amount of frames as well. I guess we can just keep it Boolean because all items have the same animation. So I'm guessing that's better. So private Boolean animated. And then in the update we can say if we're animated, frame equals frame plus 1, and then all items have 3 frames of animation, %3. And then in the renderer we can just say we need to do tile index plus frame, and the default frame is 0. And let's set animated is animated. And then for the animated items we can just say this guy is animated, this one is animated, and the soda can is animated as well. Okay, now let's see if these flags are waving. The flags are waving. Cool, let's see if the radio is pulsating. Yep, So now that we can draw the items on screen, let's pick them up. So for that, first we need to fix Duke's bounding box. As you can see, his bounding box is a bit too big and we're drawing it a bit weird. So let's give Duke a width and a height. So it's fixed. So let's make it static final int. Width is 15 and his height is 31. All right, and then let's find where we do our graphics drawing. So int screen x is x minus 8 because Duke's origin now is a bit more to the right than what the sprite drawing codes needs, because the sprites are aligned a bit differently. So that's why we need to offset it by 8. All right, and then here let's pass in our newly defined width and height. And let's also do that here, width and height. Then let's go to the graphics code where we render Duke's graphics. And let's also pass in the width and the height for the collision box. So let's stop and rerun and let's see if our, I think, yeah, this should be 15 times 31. Oh, I've passed in the wrong width and height. So this should be Duke width and Duke's height. And not the screen width and height. There we go. This is looking a lot better. And let's see, is our collision detection still fine? Yeah, so Duke slimmed down a bit. So now we should be able to get in here as well. Yeah, looking good. All right, so let's add our collision with the items. So if state get Duke collides with our x, y, and our width and our height is going to be also, let's see, private static final int size 15, I guess. And the tiles, I'll just do tile size -1. And then let's go ahead and do size, and then here also size. So if we collide with Duke, then we can say we're picked up and pass through the game state. And let's set our active to false. And then let's create this collides with method here in Duke. So we have a width and we have a height. So what we'll do here is what we did in the bolt class is this rectangle stuff. But instead of instantiating new rectangles and then calling intersects, what we can do is we can implement the collision detection for ourselves, because what we have here is a simple 2D grid of, rectangular shaped objects. That are not rotating or anything. So what we can do is implement AABB collision detection, and AABB stands for Axis Aligned Bounding Box. And it's collision detection in its simplest form, for a 2D game at least. So if you have an object that is axis aligned, so that means that it's not rotated, and we don't need tight collision detection, then we can do some AABB collision detection. And basically what it is we should check if our x, so this dot x, should be less than the x plus the width that we get in. So we need to be to the left of the right side of the other object. And our x plus our width needs to be larger than the left side of the object that we're getting. Cool. And then the same goes for the y. So this y needs to be less than the y plus the height. So we need to be above the bottom of the other object. And we need to be, and our bottom should be below the other object's top. So this is AABB collision detection. So now if we walk over an item, I expect it to be picked up. And let's just go ahead and increase the score right away. So where is our getter for the score here? Public void increase score by some points. Score is score plus, I guess we can just do score plus is points. And then we can call that here, increase, and let's just assume everything is worth 100 points. We need to figure out for each item what it's worth. But there we go. So we're walking over the items here and we're scoring points. All right, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, instead of figuring out these individual values, I think it's more useful for us to fix the items that come out of the boxes, because then we get most of the boring stuff out of the way. So let's go ahead to the active factory and let's not look at the gray boxes because we did not implement a single item that is in the gray boxes, but we did implement both items that are in the red boxes. So let's do those. So let's spawn 2 red boxes and the 15, 30, 15. That one should contain the soda can and the 18 should have the drumstick. So this is soda and this is drumstick. All right, so let's add a active contents to each box. And then let's add a new constructor where you can possibly pass in some contents that is supposed to be in the box. This.contents is contents. And then here we'll assume that the default contents of a box is empty, contents null. Then here, if contents is not null, basically we can say state get level dot get actives dot add contents. This won't work right off the bat because when we're updating our active, like when we're updating a level, we're iterating over actives. And if you're modifying a list that you're iterating over, Java will throw an exception. So this will crash, but bear with me, we will fix that right away. But let's first add a new soda XY. And let's add a new drumstick XY. So that we at least have that sorted out. Now the problem we have right now is that we are keeping the original X and Y position for these items, but these boxes, they can fall down. So what we need to do is, hey, where did we leave our spawning code? Guess this can go away. It's in box, of course, yeah. We need to also move the contents to the X and Y of the box because the box may have dropped down. So let's create this move to method. It's the same as Duke's. So this X is X. And yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the point where I want to make Duke also extend active because a lot of this code is just shared between Duke and every other item in the game. So we'll do that in a future episode as well. But I'm aware that we're having some duplication here that we need to get rid of as soon as possible. Okay, so let's go to box. So move the contents to the correct spot and then add it to the level. Okay, so let's quickly add the contents of each blue box as well. So let's go ahead and find the blue boxes. All right, so the football is D. So let's see, we have a blue box containing a football. And then we have E containing the joystick. Then comes the floppy at F. Then comes the robo hand, which we did not have. So let's find the next blue box, the balloon. We have not implemented the balloon yet. Okay. So where are the other blue boxes? Here we got the D and E for the flag. So EF. So 23 this should be the balloon. So let's make that explicit null here, which is a to-do for us. Then we get to D and E, which are, D and E is the flag and the radio. So D is a new flag, XY, and this is a radio, X and Y. All right, that should be the blue boxes. So let's see if we can fire them. All right, so that indeed crashes the game. Like I said, we're doing a concurrent modification exception, which means that we cannot add items to a list that we're iterating over. So what we need to do is we need to keep track of a list of stuff that we need to spawn. So let's just keep a list of spawns. Spawns is a new array list. And then after we update the level, we may end up with a list of spawns. So what we'll do here is we'll just say level get actives.add all and then spawns. And then let's clear the list. Let's make a method that says spawn the contents, create a method. Let's move, I guess we don't have to move this. So active, and then here we can say spawns.add active. All right. Let's see if we can now shoot this box. Oh. And we can. All right. So this episode, as every episode, we are left with a few to do for the next one. We need to still implement the balloon, and we need to implement the health pickups as well. Those are special in that way that you can shoot them and then stuff happens. And these, we need to fix the actual score of these bonus items. But for now, I'm pretty happy with the progress that we made today. So yeah, I think that'll do it for now. We came quite a way again by implementing some of the missing items, really bringing the level alive. So I think for next episode, we'll tackle a new subject where we will add in some enemies that can actually hurt Duke, because right now we are, there's no danger for us in the level here. So join me for that one, where we will start implementing the tech bots that Dr. Proton will send our way. For now, I want to thank you very much for joining me. If you have any questions, then feel free to put them in the comments down below. If you really like these episodes, then hopefully you can subscribe and like these episodes. Put a thumbs up. And yeah, join me again next time. Bye-bye.